Mr. Chairman, my friends of Philadelphia, this is almost like a convention. Last July, I stated a plain, obvious fact. A fact which I told to the National Convention of my party, that the pressure of national defense work and the conduct of national affairs would not allow me to conduct any campaign in the accepted definition of that term. Since July, hardly a day or a night has passed when some crisis or some possibility of a crisis in world affairs has not called for my personal conference with our great Secretary of State and with other officials of your government. But last July I also said to this Chicago convention, I shall never be loath to call the attention of the nation to deliberate or unwitting falsifications of fact which are sometimes made by political candidates. The time has come for me to do just that. This night and 4 other nights, I am taking time to point out to the American people what the more fantastic misstatements of this campaign have been. I emphasize the words more fantastic because it would take 365 nights to discuss all of them. And incidentally, all of these misstatements cannot possibly be what I called last July unwitting falsifications of fact. Many of them must be and are deliberate falsifications of fact. Truthful campaign discussion of public issues is essential to the American form of government. But willful misrepresentation of fact has no place either during election time or at any other time. For example, there can be no objection to any party or any candidate urging that the undeveloped water power of this nation should be harnessed by private utility companies rather than by the government itself, or that the Social Security law should be repealed, or that the Truth in Securities Act should be abrogated. But it is an entirely different thing for any party or any candidate to state, for example, that the President of the United States telephoned to Mussolini and Hitler to sell Czechoslovakia down the road. Or to state that the unfortunate unemployed of the nation are going to be driven into concentration camps. Or that the Social Security funds of the government of the United States will not be in existence when the workers of today become old enough to apply for them. or that the election of the present government means the end of American democracy within 4 years. I think they know, and I know we know, that all of those statements are false. Now, certain techniques of propaganda created and developed in dictator countries have been imported into this campaign. It is the very simple technique of repeating and repeating and repeating falsehoods with the idea that by constant repetition and reiteration with no contradiction, the misstatements will finally come to be believed. Dictators have had great success in using this technique, but only because they were able to control the press and the radio and to stifle all opposition. That is why I cannot bring myself to believe that will never prevail. I make the charge now that these falsifications are being spread for the purpose of filling the minds and the hearts of the American people with fear. They are used to create fear by instilling in the minds of our people doubt of each other, doubt of their government, and doubt of the purposes of their democracy. This type of No, the American people will not be stampeded into panic. The effort failed before, and it will fail again. The overwhelming majority of Americans will not be scared by this blitzkrieg of verbal incendiary bombs. They are now calmly aware that once more the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. I consider it a public duty to answer falsifications with facts. I will not pretend that I find this an unpleasant duty. I am an old campaigner, and I love a good fight.